With that, let's go to our guest line. We had Felicia Leggett-Jack on last week. We're going to continue to have her coaching staff on over the course of the next several weeks. And today we are pleased to be joined by Associate Head Coach Kristen Sharkey. Coach, thanks so much for coming on. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, so you've known Coach Jack for a while. You've known her in some different capacities, right? You knew her in that player-coach relationship. Now you get a chance to work with her. What is it about Coach Jack that, when you wanted to get into coaching, you wanted to work for her?
It's her energy and her passion. I mean, I think in these short 2 years here at Syracuse, I think the entire community feels that. She's super easy to recruit on a recruiting aspect because she's so high energy and passion, and what you see is what you get with her. And, she just continues to push everyone in her space. And I think that's what makes her so special. And for me to be with her as long as I have, I just, with this job that we do, I don't think I'd want to work for anybody else. So.
You mentioned recruiting. What is the sales pitch when you go out on the road and recruit? And I know that you were heavily involved in recruiting the last couple of years, and your role is changing a little bit moving forward, and we'll talk about that in a second. But when you're on the road recruiting, what is the sales pitch regarding Coach Jack and Syracuse basketball?
I mean, Syracuse it's in the best state in the entire country, right? New York. For us being back at Syracuse, it's really about just selling Coach Jack and her passion for this city and this community, and the way that our attendance has skyrocketed in the first 2 years. It just shows that the people around here in this city care about women's sports and women's basketball, and the education here is unreal. But the biggest thing that we really talk about in recruiting is our players and their stories, right? What do they want to do when they come to Syracuse? And the big thing for us is what they tell us they want, we're going to push them to get, and do that in an honest and respectful way. So just really being honest and, having a coach like Coach Jack with her passion, her energy every single day. As young people, they have to match that energy. And I think that's what makes her so special. But for us, it's really about selling that family feel, that camaraderie, the fact that everybody in our space and our circle wants to get the best of themselves, and everybody just continues to push each other to higher heights every day. But you got one of the best education systems in the country as well in Syracuse. So you're not just going to be here leaving a great basketball player, you're also going to get one heck of an education. We always talk, it's not just for 4 years, it's for 40. They got us for life once they come here. So, just really selling the fact that, we're going to care about them as people for the rest of our lives, not just for the basketball aspect right now.
Very well said, and a very convincing sales pitch. I can see why you've had a lot of success getting players. Some changes, obviously, to the coaching staff with Sue Ludwig deciding that she's going to step down and retire from coaching. And, one of the changes that was made, as I alluded to, you've been promoted to associate head coach. Can you talk about, I guess, what that role entails for you and maybe how things have changed on a day-to-day basis for you?
I think, recruiting's our bloodline, right? So no matter what, recruiting's always going to be a piece of what I do. But going from being recruiting coordinator, it kind of just now more of my attention has shifted to the name, image, and likeness. Right now with the way college athletics has completely transformed, it isn't what it was, and it will never be what it was ever again. So right now my energy is really focused on just, getting out in the community, putting my face in front of people and talking about women's sports and how, women's basketball is right now. Like if you look across the country with how the WNBA is doing, the way our championship with the viewership that it got, people are really starting to jump on the wagon of that, women's sports are pretty cool. And, it's going to be my job and my focus moving forward, really starting to kind of create those connections here and how we can, make women's basketball not just something that checks a box, but something that actually can be a profitable business for Syracuse, and then also, something that our players can benefit with their name, image, and likeness because of the product that we put on the court.
You bring up NIL, and Coach Jack the other day was talking about NIL at one of these coaches' caravans, saying it's getting to the point where we may lose some players, or we have lost some players due to NIL. What is it like, the NIL in the women's basketball space right now, and how do you close the gap with the year in and year out top teams in the ACC, so that you can be competitive from an NIL perspective year in and year out?
I think the biggest thing is just getting the women in this community really to back us. There's a lot of really prominent women out here in Syracuse that are doing some incredible things. And, it's not just a money standpoint. It's also about making those connections for our young people. We want them to be put in front of phenomenal women who are really successful in their careers, and we want to be able to have them mentor our young ladies. So for us, it's really trying to figure out, okay, we have lost players. That's inevitable. You're going to lose players in the recruiting process. Now it's a little bit more difficult because it's coming down to monetary things. So we're really trying to focus on, being able to still be transformational in a transactional setting. I know for Coach Stack, she's all about our young people and growing them. Like we tell the parents, she's gonna come here a young lady, she's gonna leave here a young woman, and by the time she's 25, she's gonna be a phenomenal woman, and we're gonna push her to get there. So for us, right now with we're building, right. Our NIL is not near where it needs to be. But that's, what we're working toward, and that's kind of why my position has shifted. But we still want to make sure that we keep this about growing young people to understand that they can do whatever they put their minds to. It's going to be awesome to have some extra money in their pocket, but let's be realistic. You're not going to walk in, people aren't going to pay you to come to work. You're getting paid to do a job. So we're trying to kind of bridge that gap, if that makes sense. But, we have lost some kids. But you know what? If we got the right kids here right now, then they're working their tails off, and we're going to be able to get them what they deserve as we move forward. But yeah, it's a different landscape. But we're excited about the challenge, and we've already had a lot of people step up even since some of those coaches' caravans. So it's been nice, and we're going to build it, and it's going to be really, really special.
And you are in the process of building it. I mean, we've seen steady improvements since you guys have been here, and going 24-8 a year ago. And a common question that I get, and I'd love to get your thoughts. Deasia Fair was such a special player. A lot of fans I talk to say, how are they going to be without her? And we know there's a lot of talent in the program, but there are some questions, right? Who's going to kind of carry the torch from what she provided to this team, and now that she's no longer here. So how do you make up for the loss of Deasia Fair going into next season? You share the ball better. I mean, at the end of the day, we have had a lot of kids that can put the ball in the hole. I think Deasia Fair is one of the most special players to ever play this game. And it was an honor and, absolute blessing to be able to coach that kid for 5 years, because of we're never going to witness anything like that, I don't think, again, for a long time. I mean, 3,000 points is ridiculous. But, basketball is basketball, and Coach Jack's been doing this for 38 years, and she's a pretty darn good basketball mind. So right now we're just kind of figuring out what pieces we have. We have a lot of talent, so having all that talent come together and play together is going to be pretty special. And but no, it's just trying to figure out and adapt, just like we're adapting and recruiting in NIL. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be different, but it's not going to be anything that is going to take us away from not putting W's in the column. One of the reasons, Coach, that we wanted to have you and your fellow assistants on is to get to know you guys a little bit here, and have the community get to know you as well. So let's talk about Kristen Sharkey, the person, maybe away from basketball. I know you're a New Jersey native, but you've made Syracuse home. What do you like about Central New York? What do you like about Syracuse? What do you like to do when you're not at the gym?
I'm always at the gym, so I don't really know what I like to do outside of basketball. But so I live in Camillus. Me and my wife bought a house out there when we first got the job, and my neighborhood is awesome. So shout out to all my friends I've met out there. But it's just been a really cool experience with how much people in this community love Syracuse and Syracuse athletics. I feel like everyone that I meet, people are starting to notice who I am now, and all I do is sit there and chart stuff during games. So for people to really notice what we're doing has been really special. My wife's having a baby in September, so that's going to be fun. Thank you. So any babysitters out there, hit me up, because in this profession we're going to need one. But we're excited, and this city has been just absolutely took us in, and we're really happy. Yeah, my wife works at Upstate. She's a nurse there, and she enjoys that. Has made some incredible connections and friendships already this quick. So we're in a really good spot. We're happy to be here, and we're excited to build Syracuse and help Coach Jack win our national championship.
Congratulations again on the baby on the way, and it seems like I'm glad to hear you're in a good spot. Seems like this program is in a very good spot. Last question, Coach, as we get you out of here. What do you want fans to know about either next year's team or just this program in general as things move along?
We're always going to push. We're always going to reach for higher heights, and we're always going to be a team that fights for, that win and that goal. And we're not going to be afraid to get down and get dirty. I think that's the biggest thing. About Coach Jack is she works. She is a worker, and we're going to continue to build this program, and we want to get this community excited about what we're doing. And we've lit that fire. I know you guys were talking about stuff on fire, but I feel like we've lit that fire here for women's basketball, and it's just going to continue to grow more and more. So we're super excited about that, and we want you guys at games. And women's basketball is right now, so don't miss the boat. We're super excited, and we're going to continue to build, and we're going to continue to put a product on that court that you're proud of. We're going to graduate young women that are going to do things in this world to make it better, and we're going to keep going, one foot in front of the other.
Well, you guys are off to a very impressive start. Keep up the good work, continued success, both personally and professionally, and hopefully we can talk with you again as the season approaches, Coach.
All right, sounds good. Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, Kristen Sharkey, Associate Head Coach for the SU Women's Basketball Program. And with that, we'll open up the phone lines, 315-437-7644. Dan from the Wildcat coming up at 1:30. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next on ESPN Radio.